Here is my capacitor kit as it arrived from Victory Glass. This is for my Rock-ola model 464 Jukebox, hoping to improve the sound on it. Laying everything in the kit out, we have a parts list, a schematic. These 3 pages consist of 6 board layout maps, double-sided. And we have 72 capacitors. I think there's probably more money in getting all these labeled and organized than there is the actual capacitors themselves. They're labeled 1 through 53. Some are duplicated. There's more than one board or where the capacitor number happens to be duplicated once or twice. It took a while, but I pretty much have the capacitors sorted out. I ended up dividing them out based on the mapping per board. So I have 8 bags because there's 2 preamps and there's 2 driver boards. The kit did come with 2 sets of C3s, so you're going to end up with a leftover set, and that is because C3 comes in 2 different forms based on the model. I'm using the 2 microfarad version because I have a 464. Couple of gotchas. C47. It's hard to find. It's actually on the heatsink and not on one of the boards. So behind each driver there's a C47. C51 and C52 are on the back of the tone control board, apparently. I happen to see 3 on the back of mine. I'm not sure why. I'm going to ask about that tomorrow. I'm going to call Victory Glass and ask about that. And also C44. This capacitor right here. It's hard to find as well. It's meant to replace the big can capacitor that's sticking out of the front of the amplifier. Not sure how that's supposed to be mounted up since it's so different. I'm going to ask about that too. And the other weird thing I found was my right driver board didn't have a C30 mounted. I'm assuming that's a manufacturer error, but I'm also going to ask about that. I'm also going to ask about C46. There's 2 of them, as if they're meant to go on maybe the driver boards or the preamp boards, but I cannot find a place for those. So I'm going to get those questions answered hopefully and have an answer for that tomorrow. I spoke with Denny at Victory Glass, and admittedly he's not an amplifier expert, but we went over a few things. He's going to send me the missing capacitor here that I wasn't able to change out. It's not on the parts list, but there it is. C46 we determined it is on the parts list, but does not go anywhere. And as far as the C44, which replaces this big can capacitor with it had mounting tabs on it, I just improvised, came up with a solution on my own. I used, if you can see that there, I mounted the capacitor to a breadboard and I also mounted a couple of quick disconnect solder tabs, and that allowed me to mount it up just as it was before, pretty much. Probably overkill, probably could have just zip tied it somewhere, but it's nice and neat. And all the boards are recapped, all 70 capacitors, 70-ish. So now we just need to get it all put back together, buttoned up, and test it out. The amplifier is reassembled, it's in the machine. I'm calling it a success. It sounds a lot better. The cracks and pops are gone. The only scratchiness heard now is what's on the records. Play a selection.